dropping quick, he meant the temperature, water temperature.
Yeah, he has to watch two things with his gauges because it's a pressurized system. And where you really get in trouble, if you get too much water pressure, then that pop-off valve kicks off. So it's watching water temperature and water pressure.
I tell you how critical it is, water pressure and temperature. Most of these guys have moved those two gauges to the top of their dashboard, where it's in the driver's line of sight, so he doesn't have to look down at all.
Caution flag waves in Daytona. Kyle Larson, who made a pit stop earlier after cutting a tire against the wall, and now he goes to the inside. Looks like a little more right front fender damage.
Yeah, you know what, Larry? I got to believe it might be that sway bar rubbing on that tire. That would be my first thought. Oh.
Not the way that little 21-year-old wanted to start this 2014 season. Great news, though, for Greg Biffle. We just had spoke about him. He's the first driver one lap down.
Darrell, in that spin, these cars run inner liners inside the Goodyear racing tires, so the tire didn't go all the way down to the rim, but it looked like the right front was flat all the way around.
Well, the right rear is flat, Mike. I can see the right rear there. That's why the car spun violently the way it did. You can see coming to pit road, he lost a right rear tire this time.
And Casey Kane is in with the 5 right side tires going on. Oh, miscommunication. Casey thought it was going to be a 2-tire stop. They're going to go for 4. So that way on their next stop, they can just do 2 as we get closer to halfway.
These green flag pit stops, going from 200 miles per hour to 55 miles per hour, it absolutely gets out of control. You see Kyle Busch in the 18, he's on pit road.
Casey Kane has spun, trying to exit pit road, where it's still a bit damp. Now the field has gone by, so the track is safe to stay green as Kane grabs a gear and pulls away.
It's got to be from the moisture down low there on the racetrack. He had to get into some of that. And remember, he had 4 brand new tires. They don't have a lot of grip when you first take off with them.
Matt?
And Kyle Busch's teammate Denny Hamlin will pit next time by. Meanwhile, you can see the changers with the lights on their helmets for better vision to hit the lug sport tires for Busch. Oh, he grabbed the air gun. He has pulled the air gun down pit road.
And that will be a penalty. That's considered removing equipment from the pit box. He'll have to come back to pit road under green.
I'll show you what happened to Casey Kane here as he came in for his scheduled stop going out of the pits. Just right there at the apron, at the exit of pit road, it's still damp.
I just think it's 4 sticker tires, a little bit of moisture, and he gassed it up, and when he did, the thing went around, and now here's the 18 pulling that air gun out of his pit box.
NASCAR rule, if you remove equipment from the pit box, it is a pass-through penalty, which means as the field rockets past at 200 miles an hour, Kyle Busch is going to have to drive down pit road at 55.
Is going to crash big.
Crash out of turn number 4. A multi-car pileup. Eric Almirola, his car all torn up. That is Michael Waltrip, who will not win his 3rd Daytona 500. David Gilliland's car is crashed. Almirola's gone straight to the garage with his number 43. Gilliland stuck in the mud, and Danica Patrick.
And Mike, Danica, she pounded that outside wall head on first.
Let's watch the action coming out of turn number 4. And let's have a look for Eric Almirola on the right side in the 43.
It looked like the 33 car of Brian Scott, something. And watch Danica right there. Man, that was a lick.
Brian Scott down right next to, and Kevin Harvick makes contact in the 4.
That's what shot
Scott.
Yep. That's what shot the 33 up the hill. I knew something had to happen because he just abruptly, the 33 abruptly turned to the right and went up the hill. We got our pole sitter involved. Danica.
Austin Dillon, Danica Patrick, Michael Waltrip among those involved. There's Waltrip coming off the outside wall. He collects Justin Allgaier in the 51.
Paul Menard at 27, been fast all night.
Paul just can't catch a break down here this week.
David Gilliland into the mud, and Ryan Newman taking evasive action. Here's the ham cam on Almirola's car.
We'll say hi.
With Danica Patrick.
The longest line. Just that 9 outside you, that's all you got out there. Okay, to the bottom. Check up, check up, check. Good job, good job. Back it down, nice and smooth.
What an impact. That was, oh.
Very hard hit with a safer barrier for last year's pole sitter. Now here comes Danica. Watch that green car shoot across the track.
Are you all right, D?
Oh, man.
Okay?
God, what the hell happened?
Boy, yeah, it took a pretty hard shot right there to the right front there.
Patrick hit the wall in an area of that straightaway that is not protected by the safer barrier. That was nearly 200 miles an hour into solid concrete.
And she had such high hopes after finishing 8th here a year ago and leading laps in the Daytona 500, not the way she wanted it to end.
Yeah, you see the 4 car of Kevin Harvick. He moves up a little bit, gets into the left front of Brian Scott in the 33, and from there it's on. It's just on from there. Almirola on the outside there in the 43. He gets sideways, comes back down.
Little damage for Casey Kane and Menard.
Jeff Gordon just barely gets through. There's our pole sitter, Austin Dillon.
3 of the Richard Childress Racing drivers involved. Almost a 4th had Ryan Newman in the 31 not gotten stopped there on the front stretch.
You've heard from Danica. Michael Waltrip and David Gilliland both climbed out of their cars. Most everyone else has driven away. Here is your leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. at 147 laps. And this storm system is about 30 miles away, the front edge of it. And look what's going on out in the Gulf of Mexico with all that lightning activity. 40 laps to go, 100 miles left in the Daytona 500. Let's go back to the garage in Krista.
Danica Patrick has walked out of the care center. Danica, was that the hardest hit you've ever taken, and how do you feel right now?
I don't know. It feels like they're all pretty hard, unfortunately. I think more than anything, I'm just upset that the GoDaddy car felt really good. It was the best car I'd had all speed weeks, and seemed like we could catch whoever, and seemed like we could move around and make lanes, help lanes out, and move around and move forward at the end of the day. And so I felt like everything was going pretty well. So it's just upsetting, you know. I think that it's a sort of culmination of sitting around all day, and you know, so it's a bummer, but it's, you know, that's kind of the excitement of speedway racing, is that anything can happen. And it was unfortunate that I was on the short end of the accident, but that's the kind of thing that happens. And you know, I appreciate everyone sticking around and watching, and we'll go get them at Phoenix.
Glad you're okay. Thanks, Danica.
Thanks, Krista. Dale Earnhardt.
Whoa, here we go.
Big crash again, turn 4. It's Calamity Corner. There's rookie Reed Sorensen sliding down off the banking. Big damage to the Ford of Marcus Ambrose, number 9. And caution waves with 38 laps to go.
Marcus Ambrose with a bunch of damage there. The 7 car. Something seemed, somebody broke loose in the pack. I couldn't tell if there was contact.
Rookie Michael Annett, heavy damage on his pilot Chevy. Marcus Ambrose. And let's have a look. Watch the 3 of our pole sitter Austin Dillon. We're under caution in the Daytona 500. Welcome back to the Daytona 500 under the caution flag for a 7-car pileup at turn number 4. Let's take you back to the lap before the crash and look at the number 3 of our pole sitter, Austin Dillon.
All right, Austin Dillon in the middle here, 3 wide, you know, and he's caught in the middle. Now watch his thing. She gets real loose with him right there, and he has to catch it. He did a great job of saving the car, but either there was something going on with the tires or the car just got violently loose. Now we head on down to turn 3. And once again, watch the back of the 3 car. The car starts to get loose like you saw before. He chases it up the hill. 42 was maybe inching down a little bit. Kyle Larson in the 42, and they came together, and that's what caused that wreck.
Just nowhere from Mike Lynette in the 7, Casey Kane in the 5. It's nowhere for him to go.
I think there was something going on with that 3 car, because off of 2 down there, it got sideways. He goes into 3, it starts to get sideways. He washes up into Kyle Larson in 42, and then from there on, it was on. I think Kyle Larson was coming down the hill a little bit. The 3 car got a little loose, started up the hill a little bit, and they made contact.
And toward the back, add to the cars damaged Bobby Labonte, Ryan Newman, and Brian Scott. Had a bit of collateral damage from this one. Caution with 36 laps to go as Austin Dillon makes contact with Kyle Larson. The circuit's 2 most heralded rookies of the season get together in turn 4.
And Carl, I got to tell you, Larry, he's not an emotional guy, but he got a little emotional about talking about winning this race for Jimmy Finney and for Ford, and how he wanted to get back to victory circle. He wants this badly.
Jimmy Finney, his crew chief, won this race with Bobby Allison back in 1988.
And look at the 36. Who would have thought? Reed Sorensen for Tommy Baldwin Racing up in the top 4 with 17 to go. Like I've said, anybody can win this 500. And he's not just anybody. He's a talented young driver from Georgia. He's hooked on with a full-time ride and helped re-energize that whole race team.
That team had a top 10 finish here a year ago.
Trevor Bayne's around. Big crash for Bayne. Past winner of the 500, and with 17 to go.
Just hold the brake. Hold the brake.
We're under caution for the 5th time.
What a bad break for the Wood brothers.
Running 16th.
Right up in the thick of things here late in the going. Tough break. Window net's coming down, so that's a good sign.
Here's the previous lap, Darrell. Now watch Trevor Bayne right in the middle of your picture and see if there is some contact here. This is the lap before the crash.
Kurt Busch right in front of him. Oh yeah, the 11 got into the left front fender, and
here's what ends up happening one lap later.
Let's see if we can see anything happen to that left front tire. No, the car just gets loose. Car does a little wiggle right there. It gets loose. He tries to catch it, and he can't do it. It turns and goes right into the outside wall.
Darrell, he was on the inside of Kurt Busch in that 41 car, and we've seen it so many times. It's almost like that was just pulling Trevor Bayne's car around.
It does. We saw he must be a little bit loose, and then he got on somebody got on his right rear quarter panel right here, the 41 car, and it just pulls the car around.
51, Justin Allgaier, the rookie, a little luckier this time. He squeaks by.
See that little bobble he had before he spun the thing? It just sucked him around.
Let's ride with Ricky Stenhouse.
This ought to be exciting.
Yeah, he's right here alongside of Trevor. And there you see the 21. It just starts to get loose. He tries to catch it. He almost had it. And whoa, right across the back of the 17 car.
The Wood brothers have sponsorship for 12 races this year. They'd love to run the full season should other sponsorship materialize, but wearing a uniform reminiscent of the 1950s, driving for one of NASCAR's oldest and most storied teams, and 5 times winners of the 500. Glenn Wood, Leonard Wood, both NASCAR Hall of Famers, and their family race team. 7 laps to go. Looking back from Dale Earnhardt Jr. at Brad Keselowski. 1-2.
Boy, you make the wrong move. Jeff Gordon made somewhat of a bad move there, and it's going to cost him.
And I keep seeing Kyle Busch in that 18 car talking about drivers that want to win the Daytona 500. It wasn't that many laps ago. He was a lap down. Here he is fighting in the top 5.
Man, look at those cars move around. We're running over 200 miles an hour, and these guys are using every bit of the skill they have. They're trying to, got another car.
Up goes Ryan Newman, Justin Allgaier, Brian Scott, Terry Labonte.
Gone.
Cole Witt.
Right at the back of the field.
Unless they can get this cleaned up in a hurry, this is not going to be good for those drivers up front that are very marginal on fuel.
Parker Kligerman involved as well. Both the Swan Racing cars torn up in this one.
Well, they did that earlier in the week, and they were just lucky to piece everything together to make this Daytona 500. And now they've got a couple of more torn up cars. What a bad bunch of luck for them.
6th caution flag with 6 laps to go. And Terry Labonte's dreams of winning the Daytona 500.
It's no coincidence. It's no coincidence, Mike and Larry, that you get down to the end of the race, we have these kind of things happen. I mean, like I said, you just can't give anymore. Well, it looks like the 3 car of Austin Dillon got into the back of the 31, gave him a shove, and it got him loose.
And I think Ryan Newman in the 31, Darrell, was checking up for something in front of him.
Plus, it just as he was about to turn off in the corner as well.
He got a little bump.
Here's another look. Watch the cat Chevy of Newman, 31.
Man, it just, that little bump, and it turned him. It's just in that vulnerable spot going into that corner. The car's a little free right there.
Casey Mears in that 13 somehow got through there.
I think he's done that all night.
He has.
This happened back about 14th place.
Man, they are grinding. I mean, that's just grinding it down right there.
Brandon Davis, owner of Swan Racing, 50 Cents, one of their sponsors. They were going to have 2 cars finish in the top 20 of the Daytona 500. There they are, the 30 and the 26. They're going to finish on the rollback. Frankie Stoddard's car for Terry Labonte, who said after he qualified Thursday in the dual race, this would be his 32nd and last Daytona 500.
Mike, this is at the end of the day when you've been out here since 1 o'clock. We started the race today at 1 o'clock. You've been out here all day and most of the night. Your energy level is low. You're tired. Your focus is a little bit off. And, man, it doesn't take but just a little bit to make a mistake at these speeds.
Now, Larry, of the top 15, there are only a couple of cars that we're pretty confident could go through 1, 2, or 3 overtime runs.
Yeah, what may be saving them, now we do know that Kevin Harvick was one of the drivers that came back to pit road at lap 152 and topped off just like Jeff Gordon, but the saving grace up into this caution right here, we had run 14 caution laps since they were on pit road. That definitely buys them, especially cutting it off like that. That's going to buy them a number of laps.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to win the Daytona 500 yet again. Brad Keselowski for Roger Penske trying to give the captain his 2nd victory. And remember, it was Dale Jr. who gave Keselowski his big break to drive Jr.'s car in the Nationwide Series. Now right behind them, Jeff Gordon, the 24. Kyle Busch in the 18 coming from 1 lap down. Carl Edwards and Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson and Ricky Stenhouse, Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick are the top 10.
And wins this year count more than ever. You win it, you might be in the chase. It might be the win you need, and it's a chance to get one right here.
Kelly Earnhardt Miller, Dale Jr.'s sister, looking on, and here we go. Green flag, 2 laps.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets to that restart box, and he is gone.
Yeah, that car is, I mean, it takes off. Now, he definitely doesn't want to get too far out. We know that's not good. And he is making a pretty good gap here.
Here comes the 2. Brad Keselowski on the outside. Got a little bit of help from behind. Gaining on the leader. Junior comes up to cover. Jeff Gordon now leading the inside row. Unless Keselowski or Busch or Denny Hamlin in the 11 drops down, it's Hamlin.
What a move by Hamlin.
Woo-hoo. Now, if we get back to the white flag, we have a race. Look at Stenhouse in that 17 in the middle, back and forth and
Boy,
back
he just
and forth.
shoved Kyle Busch right out of the way. Ricky Stenhouse in the 17 to third place.
White flag with Stenhouse up in position to challenge in that blue Ford.
You know what, Larry? I believe that tape's going to stay on there, and that baby's going to come home a winner.
Denny Hamlin has not lost a race this week. He's number 11. Keselowski, the 2012 champ, battling back to the top. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Pied Piper of Daytona, trying to hold them all at bay.
And Kyle Busch was trying to make a third line at the top of the racetrack.
Boy, here they come. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We've seen a lot of passes off turn 4 to the start-finish line, but that 88 is pulling away.
Less than a mile to go.
Oh, we got a wreck.
Third-generation star Dale Earnhardt Jr. brings him to the flag. Checkered flag waving. It's over. It's Earnhardt.
Good job, Junebug. Woo!
Reed Sorensen's race ends up in a crash. Harvick into the wall past the end of pit road, and Carl Edwards 99 all torn up. Here comes Kyle Busch backwards across the start-finish line.
Backed her across.
Now, the caution flag waved before Earnhardt took the checkered flag. Officially, the race ends under yellow. NASCAR will review
I cannot
all.
believe it. Unbelievable.
He won last year with Jimmy Johnson. He wins this year with Dale Earnhardt Jr. On the way to the finish, we knew it'd be a wild one. And here it is. Harvick up into Kyle Busch and Jamie McMurray and Reed Sorensen. Busch around, makes further contact. Cars pile up, and more are on the way. That's why the caution waves with the checker. And it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. capturing the Daytona 500. There's his sister, brother-in-law L.W. Miller, and crew chief Steve Letarte with the biggest fist pump of all, aside from this one.
They won yesterday. They won today.